Partly directing for me is trying to create that environment, not just for the actors, but also for all the key department heads in the production.
For 50 years,
For 50 years, Ron Howard seemed perfect. The all-American boy from Mayberry who became Hollywood royalty. But in his latest interview, he revealed the dark, hiding behind the smile, the devastating choice he made in 1991 that haunts him. Still, the family member he almost lost. Addiction while he was winning awards. And the moment on set when his body gave out, Ron's confession about what really happened during those missing months will break your heart. Ronald William Howard was born on March 1, 1954 in Duncan, Oklahoma. And from the moment he opened his eyes, the room already spoke. In dialogue, his father, Rance Howard, had adopted Howard as his stage name back in 1948 before joining the Air Force. His mother, Jean Spiegel, trained as an actress and married Rance in 1949 in Winchester, Kentucky. When Ron came along, Rance was still in uniform, balancing military life with screen dreams. But even before Ron learned to talk, he was already on film at just 18 months old. He made his screen debut in a western called Frontier Woman, filmed between late 1955 and early 1956. That set wasn't just his first job. It was the start of a life where childhood and camera marks blurred into one. While other toddlers learned to walk, Ron was learning where to stand under the lights. As television moved west, the Howards packed up and left Oklahoma behind. Rance drove the family straight to California, not for sunshine, but for proximity. He wasn't chasing glamour. He was betting everything on being near the new center of TV. Ron was just a toddler, but that move put him next top producers, writers, and sets before he ever saw a school desk. He was already working on Playhouse 90 before grade school. And by the time his brother Clint was born on April 20th, 1959 in Burbank, the family's plan was working. Their earnings were managed in-house. No studio guardians, no outsiders, just a father carefully balancing his own acting roles with being the one-man support crew for his son. Rance took more than 140 film jobs and 177 TV appearances, not to chase fame, but to stay close to Ron's world and keep things moving. Then came October 3rd Road. 1960, Ron was 6. That night, America met Opie Taylor for the first time on The Andy Griffith Show. On paper, Ron was just another child actor credited as Ronnie Howard. But the connection was different. On set, something deeper happened. Rance didn't just drop his son off. He challenged the writers. After a nearly read-through, he told the producers the show's father-son scenes felt fake. Andy Griffith listened. They shook hands on something real. Andy and Opie's relationship would mirror Ron and Rance. That handshake built the show's soul. Over the years, Rance even guessed starred 5 times, staying close while Ron handled scripts and schedules most grown-ups would buckle under. For 8 seasons through 1968, Ron didn't just grow up. He lived inside a television childhood shaped by love, work, and adult expectations dressed in small-town stories. Their home in Burbank wasn't some star palace. Ron went to Robert Louis Stevenson Elementary. Then David Starr Jordan Junior High and later John Burroughs High School. The family ate meatloaf and fish sticks and saved money like actors who knew it could all end tomorrow. Scripts were piled near the dinner table, but Rance and Jean kept rules. No hired guardians, no stage parent chaos. Ron played Park League sports when he wasn't memorizing lines. Clint joined their industry, too, quietly building a career with over 200 acting credits. They were brothers, but also co-workers, learning early what it meant to punch a clock with cameras. Ron's way of working didn't come from child star instinct. It came from training. Rance taught him how to listen, how to pause, how to respond like a person, not a performer. When Ron landed the role of Opie, it was because he didn't act like a kid actor. He just acted. Producer Sheldon Leonard noticed right away. He said Ron didn't try to be cute. He just told the truth. That's what Ranch drilled into him. Be truthful, not cute. Even at 6, it showed Ron's early pay was in the low hundreds of dollars per episode, but it climbed as the show became a hit. He was still losing baby teeth when fans stopped him in Burbank asking for autographs. But while his face was on screen, his childhood was quietly slipping away. One of the most unforgettable moments came in 1963. Season 4, Episode 1, Opie. The Birdman. 9-year-old Ron filmed the scene where Opie raises orphan baby birds after accidentally killing their mother. There were no dramatic tricks. He just stood there breathing, blinking, letting real emotion lead. Director Bob Sweeney barely needed retakes. Andy Griffith called it adult-level timing. Ron used substitution. If the scene called for sadness, he thought of something that actually hurt, then he let it go when the camera stopped. That wasn't just talent. It was control most kids never have. But even with love on set, Ron felt alone. Heckled those years a golden cage. Safe but sealed. On set, he had a tiny schoolroom near stage 40 at Desalucina, California. Law said 3 hours of school, 8 hours total per day. A welfare worker stayed nearby, but Ron didn't have real classmates. He did math while Grips rolled dollies. At lunch, he sat with his dad or the prop guy. Andy would play guitar. Don Knotts told clean jokes. They tried to make it feel normal, but Ron missed sandlot baseball and neighborhood bike rides. He didn't complain, but he felt it. In 1962, the Music Man brought a new kind of pressure. He was 8 years old and cast as Winter Peru in a big-budget musical. He was tone-deaf. He had 2 left feet. Music conductor Ray Hindoff spent hours coaching him through the song Gary, Indiana. Ron panicked during the soft shoe routine and whispered to Shirley Jones, "I can't do it, Shirley. I can't do it." She helped him calm down. The crew shot him from the knees up and added tap sounds later, but it worked. His shy, sweet performance helped make the film one-off biggest hits of 1962. What no one saw was how hard he'd fought Behind the scenes. Between takes, Ron memoized not just his lines, but Shirley Jones's, too. He played with dolls and acted out full scenes, directing miniature actors through their marks and lines. To others, it looked like play. To Shirley, it looked like a director in the making. Rance had already started writing scripts for the Flintstones and other shows. He taught Ron how to break down a scene. They sighed no, too political, too risky for advertisers. So, the compromise came in glances. Richie reading newspapers about the war. In the background, a passing comment about deferments. Ron felt stifled. Hella told TV Guide that being a happy teenager when the world wasn't happy anymore made him feel like he couldn't breath. That frustration planted something inside him. He didn't just want to act. He wanted control. He wanted to direct. In 1976, Fonsa was everywhere. Leather jackets were selling. Posters, toys, lunchboxes, all adding up to $50 million in merchandise. ABC tried to rename the show Fonz's Happy Days. Ron had seen this kind of thing before. His father, Rance, had fought for billing rights his entire career. So, Ron stood up. He was making $1.1500 per episode, but he told them he'd walk. He gave them 48 hours to keep the title the way it was. If they didn't, they'd lose him, and they risked a $500,000 contract breach lawsuit. Gary Marshall sided with him. The show wasn't just about Fonza. It was about a family. ABC backed down halfway. The name stayed. But Fonza got top billing in the credits. It was a silent win. Then in October 1977, Ron got a shot. He directed Season 5, Episode 5, A Date with Fonza. The budget was thin, just $10,000. 32 scenes, 3 days. He showed up with a shot list so detailed the crew called it Spielberg level. One scene followed Fonza through Arnold's diner in a 90-con tracking shot. Normally, that would take hours. Ron nailed it in 2 takes, saving $300. Ratings jumped by 12%. That meant 31 million people watched. ABC gave him 2 more episodes to direct and paid him $2,500 extra per episode on top of his acting fee. Henry Winkler later said Ron made him uncomfortable in the best way. He forced real emotion instead of just catchphrases. While all this was happening, something else was growing. In 1976, Ron acted in Eat My Dust, a cheap teen crash movie from Roger Corman. But it wasn't just for fun. He had made a deal that he'd act only if Corman let him direct the next one. That film was Grand Theft Auto, released in 1977. Ron co-wrote it with his dad, Rance. The budget was $62,000. But the film made $15 million. That's a 400% return. They destroyed 70 cars on camera, including a $40,000 Rolls-Royce, 3 Cadillacs, and 7 police cars. Ron didn't wait for permits. He shot on real roads near Victorville. The cameras shook, the cars flipped, the chaos was real. He even used his mom, his brother Clint, and Happy Days castmate Marion Ross in the movie. The film hit theaters on June 16, 1977, and suddenly no one was laughing at the redhead from Mayberry anymore. Ron was only 21 when he married Cheryl Alley on June 7, 1975. That they were high school sweethearts. He proposed on a couch at his parents' house. Henry Winkler was his best man. Andy Griffith and Tom Bosley were there, too. When Cheryl went into labor with their first child, Ron was on set. He dropped everything and rushed to the hospital. Years later, he said it clearly. Cheryl was the real story. She always had been. While he filmed, wrote, and directed, she was the one holding it all together. In 1982, Ron took a leap with Night Shift, a dark comedy set in a morgue. The story was wild. Two guys running a prostitution ring out of a New York City morgue. It starred Henry Winkler and introduced Michael Caton in his first major role. The budget was $8 million. It earned $21 million. KTON recorded ideas into a tape recorder, danced around with a Walkman, and yelled, "Is this a great country or hat?" Test audiences thought it was too raunchy. The MPA got nervous, but it worked. Winkler got a Golden Globe nomination. Caton exploded onto the scene. The film was bold and it proved Ron could make studio pictures that didn't play it safe. Then came Splashed. At 1984, Ron directed Tom Hanks and Daryl Hannah in a love story about a man and a mermaid. It was Disney's first touchstone release. Budget between $8 million and $11 million. Gross $69.80 million. The mermaid tail weighed $35 and took hours to attach. Daryl Hannah shot all the underwater scenes herself. No stunt double. She swam better than the professionals. Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates just like this.